Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Play EVE Online. So, we're right now, what is this place called actually? It's a processing unit, I think, a refinery. Yeah, here you go. So, 2% bonus refining yield to 20% reduction, blah, blah, blah. Fuel consumption, etc. So this thing is a fuel or a refinery, basically, or processing, and these tend to be around moon areas, and they're done by players. So this is not done by say some random NPC or whatever, but my understanding is they're just mostly just done by the players themselves. So I'm just gonna warp over here. We're in a fleet. This is our corporation. I joined a corporation, and they're called the Red Phoenix Rising. So unfortunately, I didn't get here in time. Apparently, there was some maybe cool fireworks or whatever that happened, and then this happens. So I don't know if they shoot something at the planet and then, you know, this happens, because you can see there's this cool looking thing here. It's the station that's shooting at it. I'm not quite sure if it's actually doing something all the time, or if that's like what it does once in a while when it hits the moon and breaks it open. Obviously, that's something I'll have to eventually get on, you know, footage on. Now, one of our members here is, I guess they're boosting me or something. I don't know how all that works. I'm a noob, right? Obviously. Hopefully, you know, he should be doing it on the other guy, honestly, or maybe he's doing it on both of us. I only say that because I'm the noob here, and if you can boost this guy more, who can mine way faster than I can, obviously that would be better. But maybe it's like a group buff. But anyways, so what that buff does is, well, if you hover over it, I guess the skills are pretty high. So 105% mining survey module range bonus, okay? And then a negative 39.4% mining module duration and capacity use bonus. So I don't know if it's causing this to be this badass, but basically now I'm able to mine at 32.7 seconds versus usually it's like 60 seconds-ish or close to that. So that's pretty awesome. And so, yeah, we're every 32 seconds or so we're grabbing this. So let's go back to our fancy image ones. That being said, this ore is not worth a lot. That, you know, if we reprocess it, we might get a little bit more out of it, so we'll check out that. I don't have really good reprocessing skills, but that is just kind of life on that. So not a big deal. You might notice my interface is kind of green, and it shocked me. I was like, somebody's trolling me. I didn't know what was going on at first. I was like, my interface went all messy, and I'm just like, what's going on? And then I had this advert for Omega, and I thought it was an advert for Omega. Like, oh, you know, with Omega you get these unlocked and all this. I'm like, okay. And then I put two to two together finally and realized I am Omega. So thank you to somebody out there. They must have used my referral code. And ended up going Omega themselves for their account, which I hope you're enjoying the game because it's a lot of fun. And I guess when they went and bought Omega with real-life cash, basically it gave me 14 days of Omega itself. So yeah, I have Omega for 14 days I can enjoy, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. Obviously, if I'm gonna do moon mining, I'm never gonna get there. I'll never be able to pay for the Omega. I don't know if I'll be able to make it, you know, this time around anyways, for being able to, you know, support and afford the Omega. But at least during that time, I can work on some of my skills and things like that. So that's pretty cool, and I don't mind that. Reprocessing. Yeah, bonus for Ores Ice. Yeah, I should probably put that at the higher up amount now. But anyways, yeah, so, yeah, I got just a bunch of skills, you know, kind of queued up, and I had a buff. Oh, here it is. Yeah, one of the members, they got me this. It was a nice little gift. It gives you all these different buffs, basically, and apparently if you die, it stays on you. And apparently these, the brain freeze or any kind of cerebral accelerators are actually enhanced by the one skill biology here, which now that I'm Omega, the biology skill obviously can be put 2 more points into it, which I'll probably work on slowly. But at the same time, I don't want to overkill on all my Omega skills, because if I'm not going to end up being able to go Omega after 14 days, etc., then I'd rather, you know, work on some other skills that will enhance me till I get to the point where I can get Omega, you know, more stabilized. But yeah, pretty damn cool if you ask me anyway. So Yeah, thank you to whoever upgraded to Omega, and I really hope you guys enjoy the game. So, yeah, I'm in the corporation Red Phoenix Rising. And it's a pretty small, I mean, it's actually pretty large, 452, but I don't think it's got a very active amount of members, like, well, they have a lot of members, but I don't think it's like, you won't see like 70 or 80 members on at once kind of thing. So maybe some people on here haven't logged in for like 30 days, things like that. I'm not going to go through the member list just to privacy or whatever. Tax rates are not too bad, 5%. So that helps them pay for whatever they need, and I think they have a buyback program. I'm not sure if they do for sure, and I don't know what they charge. On some alt characters, I actually checked some corps out there, and you got to be careful. There was one corp, so like you see what we're maybe get for this moon mining. Now there's probably more out of it, obviously, if you process it, things like that. But just to give you an idea. There was this one, corporation that I had tested with an alt who basically was offering like, it was a industrial corporation that offered mining and all this fancy stuff. Except when it came to the moon mining, it was kind of hilarious and kind of shocking. They basically paid half of what the moon rock stuff was valued at. So even if the moon rock, and this is a different region of space, so the prices aren't probably showing up as the best, but the point is, instead of, giving you, okay, so if it's worth, let's just say something's worth $1 million, they end up giving you 500, which is like 50% less than what it's valued at. So you got to be careful. There are people like that out there who will take advantage of that. And I did a little research, and people told me that basically there are quite a few corporations where it's like an alt character that basically lives in that corporation, and then their main might be in like, say, Pandemic Horde or Goon Squad, whatever. And the idea is that they're just using it to kind of funnel or fund themselves through that. And so that's kind of devious and mean. It's almost like a scam. Like you go to Jeddah and there's people always scamming people there. That's kind of like what it is, honestly. It's like a scam, and you got to be careful. So I just want to put that warning out to people anyways, that you do need to be careful when dealing with some corporations, because corporations, they're not always rainbows and everything else, because unfortunately people are that way. So let's check out the ship tree here now. So obviously everything is unlocked, or well, it's not unlocked if we can't fly it yet, but obviously now that we have Omega, we can fly whatever. So I guess if we were looking into some ships, it would be into these. Now I think the Procure, I think it's the Procure. I'm not 100% sure. But I think it is the Procure. It tends to be 25% ice harvesting duration, activation, drone damage, and hit points. Yeah, I think this one tends to be the one that most people use, but I'd have to research on that. So it's a pretty sweet ship. It costs like 30 or 40,000, or 30 or 40 million, sorry. So it's not too expensive. Obviously, way more expensive than what we're flying. But right off the bat, look at that ore cargo hold. So it holds more than double the ore. But you're also fitting it with much bigger capacity miners. So you got your high slots there, right? But they're not just, I don't know where it says that, to be honest, but it's not just high slots, it's high slots, I guess. I don't know. They use these different mining fittings. I don't know if I have any examples, actually, because I sometimes grab fittings to check out, and then, I'll check what this one is and things like that, but I don't know if I actually have any I saved. No, I don't think I've saved any of those. Okay, well, that'll be another time and another day. This is the ship I'm flying right now, so this is a pretty cool one, I believe. I don't know if this was the one from a member of this corporation who gave me this build, or, well, actually, not this one, because I think I lost it since then, or if that was somebody else, because somebody else who was in local actually helped me out with the setup as well, so I really can't say for sure. Stone Legion YouTube Adventure, yeah, it doesn't have a name to it, so I'm not 100% sure, but you got this inertia stabilizer. This helps you, I think this like reduces the turn speed and or makes it faster, and makes it like so you can warp out a little faster, things like that. And then you got your medium shield extender here. This gives you the extra like padding. And then you have a 5 MN micro warp drive. So this can get you up to 2,500 almost meters a second. So 2.5 kilometers a second, which is pretty badass because here this is useless, right? Like, you know, whatever. This I'm warping right to it and I'm leaving a bookmark here and things like that. Or even then you can just warp right to the rocks, right? Because we're so close. But when you're in a larger asteroid belt, it's actually kind of nice for you to go wee, you know, just kind of zoom right across to the asteroid. And it can be useful in other areas too, like maybe if you get hit with one of those I forget what they're called, they're like these bubbles that slow you down, like, so they stop you from kind of warping. So if you're warping to a gate, somebody might have one set up like 100 kilometers just outside of the gate and you get stuck in it. So this would, you know, you throw these on, you know, this might help you escape. Probably not, but, you know, obviously it has a chance of helping. And then maybe you're not even what they're looking for anyways, right? So yeah, you got that. You got a capacitor recharger. Don't even know if that's actually needed on this one, to be fair. No, I don't think it's needed on this setup. Probably more for, you know, like brand new player setups. You know what I mean? So I got the particle bore compact mining laser. So I got 2 of those, obviously. Those are great till you can use basically the MK2s. And maybe this is a setup for MK2s. Maybe that's why the capacitor exists. Or maybe it's a total different setup. You get the core probe launcher and probes on here. That actually is a kind of an interesting setup. You don't really need that, obviously. But the reason this is here is because this can be used for like gas mining and mining through wormholes and things like that. So it's actually a setup for more than just going to a random belt by right clicking and say, oh, I'm gonna just go to an asteroid belt and mine, right? This has its own like special use, I guess you can say, out of it. And then it's got these guys here, these engine housings, 2 of them, I guess. So velocity modifier, 5.5%. So that's pretty cool. So it's got 2 of those. I think they're the same, right? Yeah, poly something. And then it's got a EM shield reinforcer. So I'm guessing EM is kind of our weak spot on shields. I think all shields are kind of weak on EM to begin with. So it just gives you a 30% damage resistance on EM, making it just a little bit more even. If you look all the way down now, all our stats are a little bit more even. I mean, not so much for explosive damage down here, but it's all about that shield padding. Once that shield padding's gone, you're dead anyways. So it's more like, okay, whatever happens, you know, you want to get it done and out of there. So if we check now, we are full. So basically what we do is, and I think this is common because I saw this in the other corporation that was literally trying to steal all my money, I swear. If you right click up here and you warp here, don't warp to that, like warp to say 50, right? And this is the pretty cool part of it. If you warp to 50, then you'll be pretty darn close to the station itself. And then what you can do is you can right click and you can dock at the station. And we can dock right at it. So all these different stations, they have different taxes and percents and everything else, obviously. You know, if you compress the materials, they might have a tax to it. If you do this and that, you know, I don't know what the tax percent is. It probably tells you somewhere, but yeah. So if you check it out, basically one load of this is worth 400 ISK. In our market where we are right this minute, you know, not compared to Jeddah. Now, if you take it to, you know, compare it to Jeddah, let's actually do that for a second here. So you can go to a website called, I have it saved here. Eve Appraisal, yeah. So if you type in eveappraisal.com, you'll probably find this page. Anyways, if I paste that in, so you just have to copy it, like Control-C from there and paste this in. This will give me an idea what it's worth in Jeddah. Okay, so this is actually worth a little bit more now. So the cell more likely would be worth 850k. So that's not too bad. That being said, it is literally the equivalent of just going to mining a regular asteroid belt and getting that scoid or whatever the hell the normal one I get. It really is equal like that. But it does change a wee bit because when you do the reprocessing, especially at a place like this that has very good reprocessing skills, I guess, to it, you're going to see that it's actually worth a bit more. So, you know, we could get 400k. Well, now you can get 612k. Now, obviously, still, this is way too low than normal. But it still, you know, helps, obviously. And that's kind of, I guess, the point on it. So if you have better skills, obviously as well, you know the bonus for reprocessing efficiency, bonus for ore processing skills, things like that, then you're gonna you're gonna do really well as well. So a big chunk of this is personally my skills as well that are pretty shot out there. So I think I could probably save this. I'll probably save it for later and see if a member wants to process it or take it off my hands or something, because it is a waste if I were to process it more than if somebody else was. But yeah, it gives you an idea. So the whole lot there is worth 1.6 million. Like I said, you know, if this was the other material, it'd be closer to probably closer to 4-ish mil by now, right? But if we were to reprocess, at least you're getting 2.5 mil, and then once again, I said this is a little under. So if you were to sell the raw stuff here in Chita, it would be worth about 3.4 mil. And then, of course, the process of that might be even a bit more. Now, keep in mind that moon ore, and that's something we'll show you over time, doesn't have the ability to do compression. And that is something you can do with regular mining, is you can actually compress the ores at these places. They have a compression module, and it makes your life so much nicer. And it compresses it like in ridiculous amounts. Actually, I have some here to show you. So I do regular mining here. So here is compressed amount. So there's quite a bit here, but basically I don't have one stack of it, but basically I think 500 of this would be the equivalent of one of my holds. And the volume of this right now is 119.7. So what's this one? You're like 3 loads probably. You're probably like 6 loads. Oh yeah, that makes sense because look how much that is. So that's 6 something million credits there, right? So this is probably a little over 6 million, or sorry, 6 loads, right? And so yeah, and that's 480 cubic meters, right? Where my hold is 5,000 cubic meters. So you get why the compression stuff is amazing. That is honestly beyond amazing, to be fair. So I'm going to check this message. Give me a sec. Okay, somebody said they were just going to unload after that cycle. I don't want to be rude and not miss any messages or whatever. I'm in a venture. If I die, I die, right? Obviously I don't expect anyone to save my ass, but I just wanted to check out what they were saying, so... Yeah, I guess we can go back down here. So there are other materials you can look at too here. Maybe I can show you on the website here. So I'll show you this Eve appraisal, and then I'll show you this other site. It's called ore.cerlestes.de. Celestis or something. I'll show you here in a second if I can get you to... There you go. Okay, so I'll do display capture here. There you go. So, basically, this website's really cool. Basically, what it lets me do, and I'll try to remember to put these 2 links in the description for you guys. Basically, you got your ore mining here. And I set it to the same, like I think originally when it starts it might be like 100 or something like that, or it might even be 1. I think it was like maybe 100 or something. But anyways, I take this to 5,000. Obviously, I don't play with the refine yield. This is actually pretty important to set this up to what it might be worth to refine, but I leave it as default or whatever. But anyways, this gives you an idea. So if you go to ore mining and you sort this by resale value, it really, really helps you get an idea what something's worth. So if we check down here, and we usually mine this stuff here, right? It's the Veldspar, right? And yeah, so Veldspar is worth, wow, did it go up in price lately? What the hell? Anyways, Veldspar is worth 1.39 mil ISK. Obviously that's a refined amount, so it's not perfect. So if I take this into 50, will the refined amount go up? Okay, so that does not mean whatever. I think it's like maybe like 1.1 or something like that. I think that's how it works. Anyways, I'm going to just leave it as 1%. But anyways, these prices will not like equal JITA prices or anything like that. It basically equals letting you know which one's worth mining and which one's not. And this is based on a full cargo of 5,000 cubic meters, sorry. And so as you can see, this one's a pretty decent one. There's some other ones that are up and down, but yeah, basically it helps you decide, you know, what should you mine, what's worth mining, things like that, which is great. And gives you an idea, highlights like which material, you know, themselves or helping you quite a bit. And then this part here, this is where I was telling you about you can just copy and paste. So when you copy and paste, you can just throw your stuff in here. Now keep in mind your copy and paste, it won't show on here, but there's a weird, you can't modify this like this. You'd have to paste it up in your like your browser URL or whatever, because there is like basically weird hidden, you know, character code things that actually put the space out. So if you try to edit this, it's gonna break on you. There you go. So no matter what you do, that'll always break on you. What you could probably do is maybe copy it. No, it'll still break on you. So it's just how it is. You can do that. Oh, there you go. So if you do that and do it like that, it'll work. And then you can get a better idea of what something would sell anyway. So, and yeah, this is a great site. This is Eve Appraisal site, and I'll have that also in the description. Basically lets you, you know, praise items, and it's based on JITA prices. I mean, you can also set it to the other main market hubs, and then get an idea. You know, oh, you know, what's it worth here and there, and things will sell and be worth more and less, depending where you are. So everywhere else, oddly enough, the moon stuff, because these ones are probably more outskirted locations, where this one is right in the center. So it kind of makes sense why we're seeing half the cost of this moon stuff to begin with, because literally way out here it is worth half the cost, and that kind of actually makes sense when you think about it. So but anyways, let's go back into the game here, and we'll go and check this out a bit more. Where are we going? Over here. I try to get the same material because well, as simple as I just want to be able to keep mining the same one. Yeah, that one. So I'm not yeah, I don't see it around here. I don't know what he's on. You see it down there? I guess I could probably check when I get closer. Yeah. Anyways, let's just warp down here, I guess. It's like there was tons here, but I don't see them. Maybe I'll have to just do something else here.
Drive active.
And these moon things are usually perfect because they're just far enough where you can warp in from your location, which is pretty cool. Oh, there's one right there. Yeah, that's what I want. But where's another location? I don't want to take his, obviously. Distance. So is that the same one, or is this a different one? Oh, no, there it is. It's like, it must be around here somewhere. Approach. So what are these right now, distance-wise? Okay, they're actually really high. Okay, we could probably stop. Okay, and then we'll just go ahead and lock on to this guy here. 70. So my thing is... That's kind of funny. It's funny when your range of your thing is a lot further than your lock range. And there we go. I'm just thinking if I'm going to get somebody maybe in the corp or something later on to maybe refine it for me or deal with it, whatever, it's probably better to get just the same material, you know. And there is different, keep in mind there's a lot different moon materials as well. If we go back to that web page, actually, might as well show you. Where are we? Did I close the web page like a noob instead? I guess I did. There you go. Let's bring it back here. I was showing you just that one, but I should have shown you this down here. So there's the moon ores as well. So you can sort those. Once again, just, you know, refined, whatever. So the one we're doing is the bituminous, something like this. So this is the one we're doing, which is pretty low. So, you know, this is the 5,000 amount. So it is literally the same, if not worse, than what we're usually used to mining, obviously. But then after that, if anything goes up, like if you find this stuff or, you know, anything higher or in between, obviously it's going to be worth a lot. We're in a very high sector, so that's more than likely why we're not seeing anything too fancy to begin with. We're in a 0.5, but if you go down and mine into like 0.2 and 0.1, things like that, in the moon ones, then things start to go way, way higher. And also keep in mind, this is not that planetary interaction stuff. This is moon mining, literally. I guess, like I said, I'm assuming there's like a death beam or something that hits the moon, and it does it every so often, and boom, it goes off, and then basically you can come and mine. The planetary action stuff is a whole different ball game. It's like you build. It's like an RTS kind of almost, maybe like a very slimmed down one where I think you build or set up certain infrastructure on it and stuff like that, and then it does its thing, and then over time you can collect it. I believe it's a very more passive method of doing it, which is not a horrible thing to do. From my understanding, a lot of people do it on alt characters, and not alt accounts, alt characters. And the reasoning for that is basically what they do is they train up their alt characters if they're buying those injectors, or they just stop training their main and work on the alts for a bit. And they get them to a certain amount, I'm guessing, to make them very viable or decently viable. And then what happens is basically they can go on. I don't know if they have to go daily or weekly or something like that, but basically they go on, they collect whatever they've done with their moon mining, and then they can sell it or trade it or whatever they're doing with it. And then that's just another method of materials that are used, maybe in higher crafting things. Like there's like tier 2 stuff, and well, I guess there's higher. I've heard of like tier 5 and tier 6 stuff. I always thought there's just like tier 2, right? Because it says the word tier 2 or something like that, or tech 2. But I guess that's just not the case. There's all these other ones. I guess they just didn't use the same labeling or naming later on. Things changed or something. So, but yeah, I've heard people flying around in these like tech 5 or tech 6 ships. I'm like, what? It's like that's a little beyond my knowledge at this time, but it's like, okay, cool. I hope it works out for you. But anyways, I wanted to show you a bit about moon mining and how it works, and me upgrading to Omega, which was a big thanks to the person who did that. There was this New Year's thing, basically on New Year's. There's a video I'd show you, but it's just broken for mine. Basically, the idea is it'll show you what you did in 2020. Obviously, my character's pretty brand new, right? We started, 12th, 2020, or sorry, December 22nd. So, I wasn't there many days, but the only thing it counted was like me jumping through, doing some data sites, basically. It didn't count the ISK. Everything was broken. Didn't even count how many systems I visited, things like that. So obviously their database or whatever, when they pulled that data, was probably not quite to the day of, okay, that year exactly. So I'm guessing, if you play for a year, it's pretty accurate. But if you've played for 10 days at the end of the year, it's probably very inaccurate, and even those people who might have played a lot recently or something might find some inaccuracies there. So I guess it's just when they've synced up the database and things like that and ran it. It did show up like a week or so before it was even supposed to, so people were able to see it, and then they disabled it. So obviously, I don't think it's just, it's completely 365 days of 2020 inaccuracy, but it's a neat little feature anyways. But like I said, not worth showing because mine was pretty bad. But anyways, my friends, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and we'll see you wonderful people next time. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.